In the previous session, we have learned about hash functions and digital signatures. Blockchain uses these functions to store records of transaction, and this is done using Marklet tree. Now, Marklet tree is a data structure made up of multiple hashes introduced by Ralph Markley in 1979. It summarizes all the transactions in a block by producing a digital fingerprint of the entire set of transactions that enables user to verify whether a transaction is included in a block or not. Now, how does it work? By design, Marklet tree always group all the data inputs into pairs. Each leaf node is a hash transactional data and each non-leaf node is a hash of its previous hashes. If there is any odd number of inputs, then the last input is copied and paired with itself. This applies to all transactions in a block, and this process repeatedly hashes all the pairs of nodes until there is only one single hash left called Marklet root. Now let me explain Marklet tree with the following example. Suppose Alice is a miner. That means she is one of the users who verify the integrity of a blockchain. So she collects a pool of transactions that have not been included in a block yet. Let's say 8 transactions and hashes all of them. Since she is a Bitcoin miner, she uses the SHA-256 algorithm for that. Next, she takes the first 2 hash transactions H1 and H2 and uses them as an input for the same hash function, creating one single hash H12. She also creates H34, H56 and H78. In the next round, she hashes H12 and H34 together to generate H1234 and does the same for H56 and H78. Finally, she hashes the last 2 values to create H1 to 8, which is also called the Marklet root. Only this Marklet root is then included into the block header together with other ingredients like the previous block's hash value, the difficulty value, the timestamp, and the norms. So, what is the advantage of such structure? The first one is quite obvious. It tremendously reduces the storage size of the transactions in the block. Instead of including a hash for every single transaction, only one hash value representing all transactions is stored. But the question is, this could also be done by just hashing all transactions together in one go. Then why does this restructure come? Imagine Bob wanted to know whether his transaction T5 was included in Alice block. He would have to collect all other transactions that were included into Alice block and hash them to compare his result to the value representing on transaction on Alice block. By using a Marklet tree, however, he only need H6 to generate H56, H78 to compute H5678 and H1234 to create the Marklet root. This reduces the number of information needed significantly. Lightweight clients provide this such that Bob doesn't need to download the entire blockchain. The final advantage of including the Marklet root is that whenever anybody tampers with the transaction, it will be noticeable right away, because entire Marklet root and therefore the entire block hash would change if one single transaction hash changes. So we have seen that Marklet tree is a highly efficient data structure, and most blockchain applications use them to store their data. So now that we know how blockchain ensures the confidentiality and integrity of data using public-private key cryptography, and how blockchains store their data efficiently using Marklet tree. Now we can turn into the actual accounting and consensus mechanisms in Bitcoin. Now, what is mining? Mining involves adding transactions to the existing blockchain ledger of transactions distributed among all users of a blockchain. Mining process is mostly associated with Bitcoin. Let's see who are the miners. A miner is a node in the network that collects transactions and organizes them into blocks. Whenever transactions are made, all network nodes receive them and verify their validity. Then miner nodes gather these transactions from the memory pool and begin assembling them into a block. Let's demonstrate how blockchain works with a simple example of transactions. Imagine that we have Alice and Bob along with their Bitcoin balance. Let's say Alice owes Bob 2 Bitcoins. For Alice to send Bob that 2 Bitcoin, Alice broadcasts a message with the transactions that she wants to make a transaction to all the miners in the network. In this transaction, Alice gives miners Bob's address and the amount of Bitcoin she would like to send, along with the digital signature and her public key. The signature is made with Alice's private key, and the miners can validate that Alice is in fact the owner of those coins. Once the miner sure that the transaction is valid, they can put it in a block along with many other transactions and attempt to mine the block. Now, the first step of mining a block is to individually hash each transaction taken from the memory pool. After every transaction is hashed, the hashes are then organized into Marklet tree or a hash tree, which is formed by organizing the various transaction hashes into pairs and then hashing them, and the process is repeated until the top of the tree is reached. The top of the tree is called the root hash or Marklet root, and it is basically a single hash that represents all the previous hashes that were used to generate it. The root hash, along with the hash of the previous block and a random number called nonce, is then placed into the block's header. The block header is then hashed, producing an output hash. In order to produce an output hash with the desired number of zeros in the beginning of the hash, the miners add nonce into the block before running it through SHA-256 algorithm. Since a small change to the input completely changed the output, the miners try random nonces until they find a valid output hash. The amount of starting zeros needed in the output hash depends on the value called the difficulty. This difficulty value changes depending on how much computing power are there in the network. The resulting output hash is a block hash and will serve as the identifier of the newly generated block. Now the term hashing difficulty, it is regularly adjusted by the protocol, ensuring that the rate at which new blocks are created remains constant and proportional to the amount of hashing power devoted to the network. Therefore, every time new miners join the network, the competition increases, the hashing difficulty will raise, and that will prevent decreasing the average block time. In contrast, if miners decide to leave the network, then the hashing difficulty will go down, keeping the block time constant, even though there is less computational power dedicated to the network. The process of mining requires miners to keep hashing the block header over and over again by iterating through the nonce until one miner eventually produces a valid block hash. When a valid block is found, the founder node will broadcast the block to the network. All other nodes will check if the hash is valid, and if so, add the block into their copy of the blockchain. And the transaction is completed, and then the process move on to the mining next block. However, it sometimes happens that two miners broadcast a valid block at the same time, and the network ends up with two competing blocks. Miners start to mine the next block based on the block they received first. The competition between these blocks will continue until the next block is mined based on either one of the competing blocks. The block that gets abundant is called the orphan block. The miners of this block will switch back to mining the chain of the winner block. If the miner changes a transaction in a previous block, the output hash for the block will change, which leads to the all the hashes after changing. The miner would have to redo all of the work in order to make anyone accept his blocks as the right one. So I think all of you have got an idea of mining process used in Bitcoin technology. Now, just look at the structure of a single block. A block has two main components, block header and list of transactions. Now, block header contains the metadata about a block, which includes the following: the version, that is the block version number, the previous block hash. This is used to compute new block hash, hence making the blockchain tamper-proof. The Marklet tree root, it is used for verification of all the transactions. The timestamp, this is the time at which block is mined. And the difficulty in Bitcoin is expressed by the hash of a Bitcoin block header being required to be numerically lower than a certain target. Next is nonce. It is a 32-bit random number while calculating the cryptographic hash for a block. So this is a typical block header. Here you can see there are different parameters. In that particular block header, number of transaction is 2580. Then the total amount of Bitcoin that have been transferred. Next, the transaction fees that have been taken by Bitcoin network. The next parameter is the height of the block, that is 500312. That means the first block height is number 0, then number 1, and this block height is number 500312. Next is the timestamp value, and then who was generating this block? Here BTC top, who is actually the miner, validated the block. Then the difficulty level as per the hash finding algorithm. The next parameter is how many bits there is in the block, and then the enter block size. Here you can see that it is around 1 megabyte. Now there are another parameter KWU that actually balances the size of the block. Next is Bitcoin architecture version, and finally the nonce value that is used to generate the hash value. So with this nonce, the intended hash value is found by the miner and the block reward. That means by generating this block, the total amount of Bitcoin miners has earned. The block header also contains some hashes. First is the hash value of the current block. Second is the hash value of the previous block, and if there is any next block, this will be the hash value. The last one is the value of Marklet root. Now, if you are making any change in transaction, the Marklet root get changed. If the Marklet root get changed, corresponding hash value will get changed, and the hash value get changed, the next hash value will get changed. So the attackers have to change the entire blockchain. And right now, the blockchain size is around 256 GB in Bitcoin, so that you have to make change of 250 GB blockchain. Now, look at the transaction list. Here you cannot identify that who is the sender and who is the receiver. Instead, you can determine that transaction is occurred from this unique address to that unique address. And by looking into the transaction, you can validate it. At the top of the transaction, there is a hash value that is correspond to the transaction. And all the hash value is added to the top of their hash value and forms Markle truth. So in this session, we have learned about the Markle tree structure and the mining process. Hope this is quite understandable.